It's that time again, hockey fans, and welcome back to Royally Quacked. This is Gary, the royally part of Royally Quacked, coming to you live from Menifee, California in the Rogi Vashon Studios.
Rogi Vashon.
Well, I got to have some fun.
Yeah. I was not expecting that one. So,
Yeah, I thought a little different intro. How'd you like it?
I like it. And this is the Guy Bear studio.
Ooh, we're going to go goalie week this week, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Sounds good to me. I like goalie week.
Well, since I think the only person that really played well all week for me was the goalie.
Yes and no.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it wasn't much fair. So we're gonna go straight into getting the Kings season over with.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go to our first game. Of course, all these games are against the Edmonton Oilers. Starting with the game on the 27th. It's funny how if you let somebody stay in the game, how what a big mistake that is. And let's go to the scoring in this game. Trevor Moore gets a second from Philip Deneau at the 10:35 mark to put the Kings up 1-0. Nothing new in this series going into this game. And so after one, the Kings are up 1-0. And then start the second period, and Warren Fogle gets his first from Deneau to put the Kings up 2-0 at the 1:31 mark. It didn't take too much longer, about 2.5 minutes, and Kings nemesis and the most hated one, unless he's on your team, Corey Perry got his second on the power play from Draisaitl his fourth, and Nugent Hopkins his first, and now it's a 2-1 game. And then Kevin Fiala gets his third from Laferriere, his first, at the 7:32 mark, and the Kings go into the third period with a 3-1 lead. Pretty familiar throughout the almost every game up to now. What happens in the third period? Evan Bouchard, the King Killer, gets his third from Draisaitl his fifth and McDavid his sixth at the 7:51 mark to cut the Kings lead to 3-2. Then who else but Evan Bouchard gets his fourth from Draisaitl his sixth, McDavid his seventh to tie the game at the 19:31 mark. Obviously, another time when it was 6-on-5. Then we go to overtime, and that was 18-18 into the game. So the overtime went a long time, but Draisaitl got his third on the power play unassisted. And a little complaint here, I think that was the penalty called on Edmondson, where they kind of clipped ankles. I don't know how many times I saw a tripping call in this game, far worse than that, and they call it in overtime.
It was on Gavrikov.
Was it on Gavrikov? Yeah, but okay, it was Gavrikov. I know it was one of the lefty defensemen. Anyways, and I got a whole thing about not just these games, but all the games about the officiating. I think the NHL needs to have some conversation with these officials. Anyways,
well, I'm gonna stop you right there because I listen to a bunch of different hockey podcasts every day, every week, and everyone is complaining how bad the refs have been.
It's a fact.
It's not just.
Oh no, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
I agreed, and I can't tell you that's not the one that I want to scream about.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Continue. So, anyways, future part of the episode, rant about officiating. I'm sure Cody's going to jump on it too because it's been poor this season, and both us being officials also. Anyway, so the Kings lose that game 4-3 in overtime. The stats shots were 48-41 for the Oilers. The Kings did win the faceoff 54-46. But on the power play, the Kings were over 3, and the dreaded Edmonton power play went 2 for 3. Hits were this large. Edmonton had 53, the Kings had 44. But on block shots, the Kings had 32.
Wow.
We had 12. A huge difference there. Giveaways, they had 17, we had 12. Takeaways, they had 6, we had 4. We go to the 3 stars of the game. This might be the last game maybe we have a king in here. Draisaitl is the number 3 star with a goal and 3 assists, and I don't agree with this one. Deneau was the second star with 2 assists, and then the first star, this is picked by, I do believe, the media. If it's not the media, I'm not sure who's doing it. But Bouchard had 2 goals. I would have had Draisaitl with a goal and 3 assists as the number 1 star, Bouchard the second star, and Deneau the third star. That's how I would have done it in this game. So now it's what's 2-2? Yeah, 2-2. They tied up the series. Honestly, somehow I think that the Kings could have won the series in 4 games if things would have been different.
This should have been a king sweep.
Well, you got to give Edmonton credit for and the coach Knobloch making changes, and the Kings just couldn't stop them.
What? Okay, was it Knobloch's coaching or was it Hiller's mistakes?
Both.
I feel like it was more on one end than the other, and I think you kind of know which end I'm kind of leaning.
This is that the game? That's the game where he it was a 4-4 game where he did the he did the coach's challenge.
That was game 3.
Goalie interference.
That
that was the start of our downfall right there.
Yeah. We got our weekly Frankie recruiting. Pop's Kings are done, but Yankees are getting started. Come to the East Dark Side.
The East Dark Side. And I'll tell you where the Angels are playing, man.
I got something to tell you after that. I'm so done with the Angels, right? I'm so mad at them right now. Oh,
see, Frankie, it sounds promising, doesn't it?
He's recruiting me in our chat. Trust me, he's trying.
Oh, I have no doubt about it. He is resilient.
I think this is the only dark side I want to go with, right here.
Did you see the Angel uniform with Darth I sent over to you?
Yes, that was cool.
Yeah, maybe we should pick a different team now.
Oh, don't say that live. Frankie can hear us.
I know, it's okay. Even if we don't come over to the Yankees,
tell the Angels come to the Evil
Empire. Even if we don't come over to the Yankees, we still love you, Frankie. Yeah. We do love you. I love your passion. So let's go to game 5 in LA. This is where the tide turned completely. I mean, this game, I felt we got totally dominated, even though we scored first in the second period because there was nothing in the first period. Andrei Kuzmenko got his third on the power play from Kopitar's seventh and Kempe his sixth at the 3:33 mark to put the Kings up 1-0. But Evander Kane got his second from Klingberg, his second, just about 3 minutes later, and tied the game. We go to the third period, and Janmark got his second from Arvidsson, his first, and Podkolzin. Man, what a name that is. Podkolzin.
Yeah.
His third to put Edmonton up 2-1, and that's all they needed. They got an empty net at the end of the game by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and it was a 3-1 game. But this game, unlike the other 4 games, was dominated by Edmonton. Dominated. Let's go to the stats. Prove me out. Shots on goal. Edmonton 46. And the Kings only had 22. The only great thing the Kings were doing was in faceoffs. They 59-41. And they actually were 1 for 3 in the power play, and Edmonton was 0 for 2. And they even out-hit them 59-46. Do you hear the amount of hits they're having in these games? It is a physical game.
It's playoffs. That's playoff hockey for you.
Yeah. Block shots, Kings won that also 15-13. Giveaways, they won that one. You don't want to win that 21-14. And they won the takeaway 7-1. Let's go to the 3 stars of this game. And there is a King in there because he's the only one that kept him in the game. Evander Kane was the 3rd star with a goal. Darcy Kemper, he was playing, he played outstanding hockey for what he was given. Unfortunately, man, it was like there was 10 Oilers on the ice and only 5 Kings. So he was the 2nd star, and Janmark was the 1st star with a goal.
Never thought I would hear that.
What?
Janmark as the number 1 star.
Well, we tend to make any Oiler a great player.
That is very true.
And so now we're in Edmonton. We in a must-win game. And once again, we start off good. Quentin Byfield gets his 3rd from Fiala, his 3rd, and Lafayette his 2nd at the 1:19 mark. So really early in the game. So that looks good. But another ex-Duck, Adam Henrique, gets his 1st from Brown, his 1st, and Frederick his 2nd, just about 2 minutes later to tie the game. Brant Clark gets his 2nd from Deneau, his 6th, and to put the Kings up 2-1 at the 3:37 mark. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the power play ties the game up for McDavid his 9th and Hyman his 3rd, just about a little over 2 minutes later. So now it's tied 2-2. And then Zach Hyman gets his 2nd from Norris's 1st and Nugent-Hopkins his 2nd to put Edmonton up 3-2. So that's how it ended in the first period, with the Oilers up 3-2. Then Darnell Nurse got his 1st from Podkolzin, his 4th, and Janmark his 1st at the 14:59 mark to put Edmonton up 4-2. Then Trent Frederick gets his 1st from Brown his 2nd and Kulak his 2nd at the 16:35 mark, and it's 5-2 Edmonton. But Jordan Spence comes in and gets his 1st from Fiala's 4th and Hellenius his 1st at the 18:01 mark. Now it's 5-3 Edmonton going into the 3rd period. We go into the 3rd period, and late in the 3rd period, Anze Kopitar gets a 2nd from Doughty his 3rd and Laferriere his 3rd. And now it's a 5-4 game with just about a minute to play. Well, we definitely had already pulled Kemper, and Connor Brown gets his 3rd empty netter to finish it off 6-4 and knock the Kings out of the playoffs. Let's go to those stats real quick. Again, we were outshot 29-27. but then we dominated the faceoff circle. And, McDavid and even Henrique and Draisaitl are all really good faceoff guys. And we won that 58-42. But we were 0 for 2 on the power play, and they were 1 for 1. We out-hit them 34-26. Block shots, they had 29, we had 18. Giveaways, we gave away 16, they only gave away 10. There was only one takeaway in the whole game, and it was ours. Let's go to the 3 stars of this game, and I'm sure that's all probably Edmonton. Oh, no doubt he got in there with an assist for the 3rd star. Nurse, the 2nd star with a goal and assist, and Hyman was the 1st star with a goal and assist. And the Kings have been eliminated for the 4th straight season by the Edmonton Oilers. We got to do something so we don't have to play them at least in the 1st round. That's all I got to say.
Maybe win the wild card instead of being 3rd in the 2nd or 3rd in the Pacific.
Why not just win the division?
Or that too, but you guys haven't done that in how long?
Long time.
Yeah. So I'm happy and mad about this situation. I'm happy I don't have to eat crow this season on my prediction, my hot take. But I'm also mad because my playoff bracket is done already. I had the Lightning going to the Stanley Cup final, and they got limited in 5 games.
Oh.
I had the Kings winning 2 rounds, and they got eliminated in the 1st round. Yeah.
I don't remember what I picked.
My bracket is not looking good right now.
So you don't have anybody?
I mean, if Colorado loses tonight, I'm done. My bracket is it's already done, but it's even worse. Where both my Stanley Cup picks are eliminated in the 1st round.
Sorry, bro.
I'm just happy I don't have to eat crow yet.
If the Kings would have won, you mean? Because you said the Ducks would win before the Kings? You might be right.
And it's funny because I've been seeing all over social media, and it's not just Ducks people, it's even like other teams stuff. I've NHL teams on their Twitter saying, well, not like actual teams fans, like they're saying like it's pretty funny how many years the Ducks have been out of the playoffs, but yet the Ducks still have a more previous playoff series win than the Kings do.
Well,
I think it was like 2018, 2017, 2018, or
that's
16, 17.
That's when the Kings started going down the tubes.
Yeah. I think you guys were both in the playoffs that last year. We were both in too.
Yeah, but that's when they just weren't the same.
Yeah.
So we want to go to news?
Yeah, we'll go to news. Beckett Seneca named the OHL Player of the Week. In 2 games, he had 3 goals and 2 assists, and he was a +3. And I believe the Beckett Seneca and the Ottawa Generals are going through the OHL playoffs pretty well right now. I haven't really fully looked into it, but I've just heard good things about the Ottawa Generals right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The Ducks owners, Henry and Susan Samueli, are leading a $1 billion transformation of the Honda Center that is expected to run through the end of 2027. They're going to make the Honda Center look pretty much like brand new. So what you see behind me right now is going to look a lot different by 2027.
Maybe in the inside or on the outside, or both?
Both.
I don't know. I've always thought it was a nice looking arena.
Yeah, but I think it needed more of a modern touch. Okay. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think they're going to finally put escalators in the Honda Center. That would be very nice.
Yeah, your mom will love that.
Yeah. So I think all of us Ducks fans would really enjoy that. And I'm not going to get too much into this because there's another podcast I got better detail into this. But there was very big coaching drama in Anaheim. I'm going to just go over it real quick. Joel Quenneville, the former Florida Panthers and Chicago Blackhawks head coach, did get an interview with the Anaheim Ducks, and there was reports saying that he already got offered the job, but that was not true. But he does have a second interview from what I've heard, and I know a lot of people aren't happy with it. I'm not happy with it. I don't want him part of this organization, for one. But like I said, there's another podcast, Crash the Pond. They really did a full episode into depth about this whole situation. So I should just, if you guys want more in depth about everything, go listen to that one. Because otherwise, if I go into it, we're going to be here for another 45 minutes. And I don't want to just waste that time when we got other stuff to talk about. But please, if you guys are not happy with it, go on the Ducks website and voice your concerns. Because apparently they've already had more people email them about this Joel Quenneville situation more than actual season ticket sales. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
that's not good. They got to pick the right guy, that's for sure.
Yes, agreed.
I mean,
So,
you got a very strong young talent pool with some money to spend this year. I mean, it could be the Ducks' year to definitely, I think, break into the playoffs this next season. It's a big possibility depending on who they bring in for a coach and upgrades in the player talent.
yes. But I mean, that's not the only coach they're looking into. So they did reach out to Mike Sullivan, but we'll get to that later. They also got Jay Woodcroft. They've talked to David Carl, which is a good sign because David Carl already turned down the Chicago Blackhawks gig. Who else? I believe they like I said, they're doing a wide search. The Ducks aren't just gonna pick the first person they see and stuff like that. And I want everyone to know, just because a person has won a Stanley Cup with another team does not make him a perfect fit for us or even in general, because there's only ever been 3 coaches in NHL history that have won a Stanley Cup with 2 different teams. Only 3 coaches have done that. 3.
Well,
So it's not like it's
wouldn't it be nice to have a fourth one?
I mean, yes, that would be nice, but I'm just saying, it's just because he's won a Stanley Cup doesn't mean he's the best fit for us, obviously. So, with the whole coaching controversy, if you guys want to get into the whole Quenneville thing, Crash Upon with over there with Jake and Felix, they break it down really well. So that's all I want to talk about it. I don't want to get fully into it. Like I said, they're more into depth about that. So, and like I said, we got other stuff we got to talk about as well. So let's just say I'm not happy with it so far. And then
you are happy they got rid of Cronin, though.
Oh, I am happy they got rid of Cronin, yes.
Yeah.
So I am happy about that, yes. I was just not happy about the Quenneville situation. So, and of course, I think that happened after our podcast happened, I believe.
Yes, it did.
So, all right. Oh, we can go to Kings news now.
Okay, so Darcy Kemper named one of the 3 finalists for the Vezina Trophy. And I got to tell you, he stood on his head during this Stanley Cup against the Oilers. I mean, the onslaught he was taking, it could have been far worse than what it was. Did you watch any of the games, Cody?
I watched the game 6 and a little bit of 4, I want to say.
I mean, there were multiple times they could have scored. I mean, they scored maybe some easy goals, but I mean, some of the goals, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, the Edmonton was just all over the Kings. So I think we have a lock of who's going to win that. But honestly, if you included the playoffs in that, Hellebuck wouldn't win it with the playoffs he's been having. He has only been mediocre at best.
Yeah.
So to move on, the Reign got knocked out of the playoffs by San Jose in 2 games, all in Ontario. So, I mean, obviously we pulled up probably their best player, Malott. I mean, one of their best players. They probably missed him, but I still thought, I mean, because they were a higher seed and lost the playoffs quite handily to the San Jose. Was it Barracudas?
Yeah, Barracuda.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Jared Woolley and the London Knights are battling the Kitchener Knights for the conference championship. Now, Liam Greentree, who were up on the Kitchener Knights 3-0, and then he got sick and he missed a game. And I know he came back and played, but I do not think he was 100%. And Kitchener Knights did a reverse sweep on the
Oh, wow.
Windsor Spitfires, and then made it into this conference final against the London Knights. Then I guess we're going to go to league news.
Well, on Instagram Live, BTB_hockeypod said John Cooper would be sick behind the bench for the Ducks. Could see Tampa and Cooper parting ways. You have to throw a bunch of money at Coop if that happens. And he said John Cooper could be the fourth. But I believe it's already been reported that John Cooper and Tampa Bay aren't parting ways because Cooper does have one more year on his contract. And I believe from what I've heard is that Cooper doesn't want to leave right now just because his kid's about to graduate high school as well. So might as well keep him in Tampa for that. That way he can stay there, finish school, and stuff like that. And I've heard a lot of rumors that if Cooper is going anywhere, it sounds like he may be going to Utah because I guess him and Ryan Smith are like best friends.
Wow.
So trust me, I would love John Cooper behind the bench for the Ducks.
He would be a very good candidate for that job.
Yeah. So, but I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's available. If he is, he probably won't be available till next season. But it's not looking pretty because I mean the Ducks are already doing the coaching search this season, so I think we're probably gonna miss out on John Cooper, sadly. But you never know; he may not be the best fit for us here in Anaheim.
Well, the thing is I thought he did a fantastic job with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, who'd expect that they would be where they were?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, a lot of people were thinking after losing Stamkos.
Yeah.
And
Stamkos.
They lost others, I think, too. So they didn't have quite the strong team they had before. Well, he was typically they're one of their leading goal scorers for them. So
yeah.
So I thought he did a good job, and he would be a fine pick, I think, if he would be available, and that's the move that Verbeek and the Sam Willies want to do.
Yeah, so. But it doesn't look good news for the Ducks and Cooper. Tampa has shown that they are not afraid to pull the trigger a year early, though. Yeah, but I think Tampa already came out and said that he's not going anywhere. I forgot who reported it, but it was a good source.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because look at.
He says Sergachev, Stamkos, and Bogosian all left Tampa last season.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't. I just drew a blank on who else had left them, so they weren't expected to be as good. So I think he did a great coaching job for what he had.
No, I agreed.
So, well, let's go to league news.
I'll let you start.
Yeah, you
wrote it.
Yeah, so. I know. Penguins fire head coach Mike Sullivan.
Well, it wasn't. They parted ways. It was like a mutual.
There's two different stories to that. I'm not sure what. And I was just going to share the second story. I heard also that they just parted ways agreeably, and he's a two-time Stanley Cup winner. I go, obviously was making Cody happy at the time when I wrote this because he had not signed. Now Verbeek needs to hire him ASAP, is what I said.
And
Because
then
I
I
wrote
added
this
the
before the Rangers came in and stole him.
yeah.
So
And then I wrote, too bad the New York Rangers hired Sullivan as their new head coach, making him the highest paid coach AAV ever. So, which I think that was probably a better fit for him anyways. He's going back to where he coached before. And there's been rumors that John Tortorella will be one of his assistant coaches there in New York as well. Because it's funny because it was the opposite before. When Tortorella was the head coach of the Rangers, Sullivan was one of the assistant coaches.
So the student took over for the master, right?
Yes.
Take a pebble from my hand.
The apprentice. How about we do the apprentice has become the master, since it is kind of Star Wars weekend in a way.
Okay.
The USA U18 men's hockey team will play Slovakia for the bronze.
Yeah, they ran into Sweden for the second time yesterday. I mean, if you go onto the IIHF and put men's U18, you can see all the stats. And I think the top 4 scorers in this tournament were all from Sweden.
I mean, Sweden always has pretty good teams, so.
Well, they got a great hockey system
Yeah.
there. They really do. They'll be playing Canada but about 12:30 Pacific time. If you're big hockey fans, USA playing Slovakia for the bronze today. And you might see a couple guys that are going to be high picks in the very not if maybe this next draft or the following draft.
Yeah.
In case they're extra young. So.
Yep.
And then Rick Tockett's out in Vancouver.
Yep.
So Rick Tockett's available, Cody.
I want to say that I don't know. I like Rick Tocchet. I don't know if he's the right fit for the Ducks. I'm still going. Well, since my number 1 pick is gone, I mean my other 2 picks are still available, and they have talked with the Ducks. They've had interviewed, so that's a good sign. With Carl and Woodcroft. But Tocchet, he has a chance to really go wherever he wants. I could see him going to Pittsburgh. I could see him going to Philly. I could see him going to Boston. Because I think there's like 9 available coaching spots, I believe. There's Anaheim, Seattle, Vancouver, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia,
Boston.
There was I know we're missing more.
Yeah.
Oh, Chicago.
Yeah. Nobody wants to go to Chicago right now.
Yeah. Who is the other one? There's a lot of people are saying LA is a possibility.
We will see on that one. We will see. I mean, I think the Kings were way better.
I did say Seattle already. Sorry, the guy from Instagram Live. He put Jay Reacher from the Bleacher Report confirmed Cooper would be back, by the way, went to confirm it. So thank you. I appreciate the confirm. Because I forgot which podcast I heard it on yesterday. They said they already confirmed it. I just couldn't remember because I was also working. And then he asked me, he said Seattle, but I think Seattle was, I know there's like 8 coaching spots available or more. It's like around there.
Yeah.
But Rick Tocchet, I can see him.
He's gonna get a job.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of people are saying, or I forgot who was saying he may just go back to TV for a year. But I mean, I know the top 2 choices for him is I think either Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, because he played for both teams, I believe.
Interesting. Well, that'll be some great stuff for our off-season podcast to talk about where everybody ends up going and a whole bunch of other stuff that we got planned. Now let's go on to award finalists. And for the Vezina, I think I shared this already. We got Hullebuck from Winnipeg, Kemper from LA, and Vasilevsky from Tampa Bay. I think the consensus is Hellebuck. I don't see anybody else beating him for the regular season because he definitely had the best. He had the best stats. The only one that came close, both Kemper and Vasilevsky were close, but Hellebuck just walked away with it. I would think he's going to walk away with that trophy again, and he
Oh,
won
yeah.
it last year.
Yeah. No, agreed. I think it's Hellebuck's to lose, pretty much.
Absolutely. But
The next one is the Norris Trophy. The finalist is Quinn Hughes, Makar, or Shaquille Makar, and then Zach Rowinski.
that's the biggest battle.
I would say this is the top one. And honestly, people may be shocked of my order. I have Makar 1, Rowinski 2, and Quinn Hughes 3.
I would have picked it the exact same way.
Yeah.
And the only reason why is Quinn Hughes just missed too much time.
Yeah.
Because he was going towards a 100-point season, and Makar's close. He didn't make it to 100 though, did he? I don't think he did.
Oh, New York Islanders was the other one I was thinking because they got rid of Lou Lamoriello as the GM. So and they're saying Patrick Waugh could be on his way out too, but that was a speculation one, not a for sure thing. So that's the other one I was thinking of. Sorry, it was bugging me, so I had to look it up.
Although, honestly, do you think it's going to be for sure Makar? Just because I know he had the most points for all the defensemen.
He also scored 30 goals.
Yeah, but who made a bigger difference in his team?
It's not by team; it's who's the best defenseman.
Is it, or the best scoring defenseman?
Yeah, that's why I really wish the NHL would.
They need to do another. They need to do a defenseman and then the Norris for the best offensive defenseman. Yes. That would only be fair because guys like Slavin, in the past like Doughty that were good defenders.
Look at Gavrikov.
Gavrikov. I mean,
Mike Anderson.
Right? Well, yeah, but not just them. I mean, just because they're local, we know them. There's others that are just great stay-at-home defensemen that need to be honored, I think.
Oh, Devon Taves would be a good one.
Yes, absolutely.
I know there's Brock Faber. I believe he's a good defensive defense. But I know he's a good two-way, but he's really good on the defensive end.
Yeah.
All right, now the Ted Lindsay.
Yes.
Okay, I guess I'll go again. The Ted Lindsay is one that's voted by the players. Is in the top 3 finalists is Nikita Kucherov, Cale Makar, and Nathan MacKinnon as the top 3. So, who do you think's going to win this one?
I think it'd probably be Kucherov or Makar.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be Makar, Kucherov, MacKinnon. In my honestly, you can't really go wrong with this order either.
Well, Kucherov did win the scoring title
for the 2nd straight year.
Yeah. Well, that's because MacKinnon got hurt, didn't play, or they just held him out.
They held him out for 2 games. Would have it been that big of a difference?
I don't know. The guy can score 5 points in a game.
And Kucherov couldn't?
But he was in the game.
Let's see. I'm going to look it up. Like, what's the difference? Okay, so Nikita Kucherov had 121 points. MacKinnon had 116.
Right.
So 2 games, yeah.
It could have made a difference in the scoring title.
Yeah.
And then we have the Hart.
Yeah.
Draisaitl, Leon Draisaitl, Connor Hellebuck from Winnipeg, and then again Nikita Kucherov. Who would you pick for the Hart?
The Hart?
Yeah. MVP.
I have a feeling it's going to go to Draisaitl, even though I would like it to go to Hellebuck.
I think Hellebuck's already got a trophy.
Well, Draisaitl has a trophy.
Well, yeah, he won the Rocket Richard because he had the most goals. You wouldn't give it to Kucherov for being the scoring leader?
I wouldn't mind Kucherov winning it. I just don't think it's
because he won the scoring title last year too, and McKinnon won the Hart Trophy, and McKinnon's not even in there.
Yep.
I was surprised by that because who led the scoring race 90% of the season, or maybe more than that, was McKinnon.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. The Bill Masterton Trophy. I can't remember what the trophy is, like what it goes to. I think it's the best perseverance on and off the ice, I want to say. Don't quote me on this. I can't remember, and I should have written it down. But the finalist is Marc-Andre Fleury, Gabriel Landeskog, and Sean Monahan. I just say give every single one of them the trophy. That's just my honest opinion. Because we're never going to see anyone else like Marc-Andre Fleury ever again. He deserves it. Gabriel Landeskog, even though he didn't play a single second in the regular season in the NHL, I still think he deserves it. Sean Monahan losing his best friend earlier in the before the season even started, he deserves it. I say just give him all the trophy.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer on that one.
No. But for the perseverance, how old is Marc-Andre Fleury? Like 43?
No, he's the 2003. I want to say he's like 39, 40.
He's played over 22 years, right? So I would give it to him.
I think he was 18 when he started, so he's
he was the first. 40. He was the first pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm. And now there's only 3 players left from the 03 draft.
Wow.
Since Fleury, it's Ryan Suter, Brett Burns, and Corey Perry are the only players left from that draft.
Scary Perry.
Scory Perry.
Not Scory. I don't want him scoring anymore. He's an Oiler. He's the enemy. Well, he's always been the enemy for me.
Yeah. Is it my turn? No, it's your turn.
Selke, Alexander Barkov, Sam Reinhart, and Anthony Cirelli.
I mean, I think that's an easy one to go with.
Barkov.
Yeah. But Reinhart was really good defensively this year as well. So I can see him getting it. Cirelli's always been a good two-way forward as well. So
he's with Tampa?
Yeah, it's an all Florida finalist.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. That one, I think any of them can really win it as well. Next one, the Jack Adams goes to the best head coach of the year. The finalist is Scott Arniel, Spencer Carberry, and Martin St. Louis.
You have a favorite there?
I mean, yeah. I'm about to go with Carberry on this one.
Okay.
Just what he did with Washington being the very last team to make it in the playoffs with a negative 40 goal differential to being the first team in the playoffs this season.
Done a great job. Of course, a lot of that could go to the GM for all the pickups they did because they did a lot of moving last year. Shows you how you can change it in one season.
Yeah. I mean, oh no, this is the coach, not the GM. So
yeah.
But I mean, if there's a GM award, I'd probably give it to. We'll see who's. I don't even know who's the finalist for that yet. So we'll get to that when it comes out. Who's your favorite in this one?
Well, I thought St. Louis taking Montreal to the playoffs would be good, but it's hard to go against Carberry with taking Washington from where they were to where they are, and taking all the new, because they weren't all young players, they were all players from other teams, and blending them in to be in the first team to 100 points this season. So can't go wrong with that one.
Yeah. No, agree. Like this one is like, I mean, Arneal, what he did with Winnipeg, the best start in NHL history. So
yeah, it's tough. That's a tough. They're all three. That's another one you could just give it to all three of them.
yeah.
So,
And then the last one, the Lady Byng Trophy. The finalists is Anze Kopitar, Braden Point, and Jack Eichel.
another bunch of great guys, great
Yeah.
players. Definitely very classy players.
This one, I think any three can win again.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
Agreed.
and then the next guy we're going to talk about is definitely far away from winning a Lady Byng Trophy. I'll let you go into that.
Okay. Panthers defenseman Aaron Ekblad has been suspended 2 games for elbowing forward Brandon Hagel in the head. He didn't even get a penalty.
That's ridiculous.
This is the one that pissed me off about the officiating. I mean, I saw that play and I go, you have 4 guys out there. I mean, you have 4 guys that can at least talk. I know 2 of them can only really call the penalty, but 2 linesmen, somebody had to see it. And
yeah.
they, hey, we need to call that. I mean, that's, that could have caused severe brain injury. The way do you see how he hit him with his elbow?
Yeah, it was bad.
And I'm sitting there going, anyways. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've been an official, not for hockey, but other sports. And I want to tell you, Cody have you not been more angry with officiating than I have this season?
I think
you've talked about it quite a bit
yes, but I think I was more mad last season with the officiating.
It's just I don't understand how people they let these guys get away with stuff. But I'm going to go into that later. Let's get back to the news.
Yeah. The PWHL, the Professional Women's Hockey League, gets 2 new expansion teams. Welcome to the league, Vancouver and Seattle. Both well-deserved markets. The PWHL is finally moving west, so I'm really looking forward to the 2 teams over in Seattle and Vancouver, and hopefully we'll see one in Southern California soon.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, would be nice. The Los Angeles Queens. There we go. They already have a name.
Anaheim Ducklings.
I just feel like the LA Queens would probably roll better.
I don't know the Ducklings. I know that's
the Ducklings.
The Queens does sound better. I agree.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes have signed forward Taylor Hall to a 3-year extension worth $3.167 million AAV.
Yep.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, hands down, it is a great deal. He looked good there at the little time he was there in Carolina.
Yeah. Well, obviously he's happy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wait a second. 9.501 million.
That's overall.
Full
no move clause.
Unless Hall gets less than 35 points in year 2, then year 3 moves to a 10-team no trade list.
Yes.
And I know you want to say the next one, so I'm going to let you do that because you put it in there.
Yeah, there's been reports that I said just reports. It could be just people just talking crap on Instagram or on Twitter, but there's been rumors that Edmonton may be trying to get Jeremy Swayman over to Edmonton.
So why not just bring another guy over? You think? Oh, he's probably better than. Oh, I can't think of his name. Skinner. They
Oh,
they like goalies with a last name initial of S.
sure.
Well, Pickard brought him back, that's for sure. So maybe
Brought
he
him
has,
back. He took him, to the next round.
yeah. So maybe
But like I said, I don't know if this is like real, but I thought it was interesting. I don't see it happening, to be honest. So, because I don't know how they're going to be able to afford that, and then also Connor McDavid's next deal, and maybe whatever Evan Bouchard's supposed to get. So, like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. So,
we'll
can
see
move
what
on.
happens.
Yeah.
So the Minnesota Wild are the first team in Major League Baseball, NBA, NEL, or NHL history to make the playoffs and lose in the first round every time in a 10-year span.
Oh, that was supposed to be NFL. Sorry. I must have hit the wrong button.
You must have. I was going to ask you what the NEL was. I didn't even think about NFL. We're kind of far away from that, except for we had the draft just recently.
They're fixed.
So,
but yeah, that's just crazy to lose the first round 8 times in the last 10 years. That's crazy.
I didn't say 8 times. I said lose every time in a 10-year span.
Every time. I guess every time. I think because they were 8 times they were in the playoffs and they lost all 8 in the first round.
At least they made the playoffs.
Yep.
Look at the positives.
Yep. Speaking of hopeful positive for the Ducks in this, the Tampa Bay Lightning will not be signing forward Isaac Howard, the Hobie Baker winner this last season for the NCAA, and he will likely be traded per the Tampa Bay Lightning. So get on the phone, Verbeek. Do your thing. Crack that white can monster and make this trade.
Well, we'll see what happens. The 2025 NHL Draft Lottery will feature a live drawing on television for the first time ever.
I'm kind of glad they're doing this because this could probably really end the whole, whatchamacallit.
I mean, when they announced the guy announced it before it got announced in the draft that one year.
Yes, that was bad.
Kevin Weeks, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because it had already been done. He just wasn't supposed to say anything, and he said something as they were going into a commercial.
Oh God, like there no cheating to help like Chicago getting the number 1 pick like a couple seasons ago. So
you mean the Bedard one?
Yeah, the Bedard one. So
I like Carlson.
I do too. So and then the next one, the Carolina Hurricanes is finalizing a 1-year contract extension with goalie Frederik Andersen per Kevin Weeks. There is no money sign there yet, so we don't know how much he'll be making this next season, but it looks like Freddie Andersen will be with Carolina for 1 more season, unless he gets traded.
And hurry up and call a plumber because there's a leak in Utah.
Yeah, a big leak.
A big leak.
So did you hear what happened with that or no?
All I know is I think on a website
so on YouTube they changed their username to the Utah Mammoth, and then someone saw it at like 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then screenshotted it and then posted it, and then they kind of like deleted everything from that channel, and it was the actual Utah Hockey Club's official YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube channel, while we're on the subject, please, if you're listening to us on YouTube, go give us a like and subscribe on there. And if you're listening right now, on the audio platforms, go on YouTube and give us a subscribe and a like as well. That we'd really appreciate that.
We would love it.
Yes, it would really help us out. You have no idea.
Help us make the podcast better by
Yeah.
giving us what you guys would like to hear. We have a whole lot of plans for the off season, but if you have some plans, share them with us. So we probably will obviously try to implement, and because we want you guys to be happy with what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
you like that transition?
I do. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But
So
we didn't do the player of the week. So I see your player of the week. I'll let you go first.
Well, Darcy Kemper stood on his head for the Kings. I know there was a lot of goals scored, but the onslaught was, I mean, it was just incredible how in tune Edmonton was with going to find the puck and putting it in a place where they could get an opening to score. And he stood on his head, I don't know how many different times, and stopped that from happening. And it still didn't get us a victory. So, I mean, honestly, as a Kings fan, I'm very disappointed in what happened and how it happened. And I think some of that does fault with Hiller. Hiller made some mistakes, big mistakes, that helped Edmonton get back into this series. But to me, Darcy Kemper has been so much more than I ever thought he was as a goalkeeper and a person with the Kings this year. And I wouldn't doubt if he wins the MVP for the team. He may have already. I know they did some of that stuff already, but for me, he'd probably be their MVP. Now I want to talk about the officiating.
So I don't get a say in the player of the week.
Well, I saw what you said.
Yeah, but okay, no one deserves to be player of the week if you have a 2 games to lead and you blow it 4 straight games. No one deserves to be player of the week. Nobody. I'm sorry. Okay. Why should you be, congratulated on being player of the week when you gave up? You literally had the lead in every single game. You had a lead and you lose it. Game 3, game 4, game 5, game 6, you guys scored first and lost.
I think
no one deserves to be player of the week.
I think there was one game Edmonton scored first.
Nope.
You double check that?
Or at least the Kings had a lead in every single series in this game.
But I think Darcy Kemper is a big reason why it wasn't worse. It would have been a lot worse. And you know what? I want to give somebody their due for doing it. So, but I want to talk about one thing about the King series. If any of you have watched the series, how come Connor McDavid can grab somebody's stick and never get a penalty? I mean, he literally multiple times was holding on to someone's stick and not getting a call. Holding the stick is a penalty, yet he gets away with it every time. That's just the one for the Kings, and the tripping penalties that were called in this series. Some of them, and some of them went against the Kings or for the Kings, where they call the stupid little trip penalty, but then the guy gets totally taken out and they don't call it. I mean, a far worse infraction and they don't call it. So I don't understand that. And then the one with Ekblad, that got my blood boiling. I mean, to watch someone take a hit like that, an intent to injure, and he gets a 2-game suspension. I go, you want to stop that stuff from happening, you got to penalize these guys worse. I mean, if he does that out in the real world, he's going to jail and he may be there for a while. I mean, that's assault.
Yeah, and it looked
assault, intent, and attempted murder. You hit someone on the head, it could kill them.
Yeah, no, agreed. Like it's one thing to hit him with your elbow, but when you cock it back and then go forward, and you see him do that. That you do see him cock his elbow back and really put force into that hit.
I mean, I don't know how many times because I watched a lot. I was off this week. I watched a lot of hockey. I watched a lot of the games, and I'm going like, oh my God, it's not just in the Kings game. They're missing it everywhere. I go, why do we have rules if we're not going to abide by them? I mean, I know everybody's guilty on a freeway of speeding.
Yeah.
That does happen. And speed can kill if it's not safely done. But I mean, we're talking about checks to the head, grabbing sticks. I mean, you can't tell me that doesn't give you an advantage if the guy can't use his stick. That's the tool they used to do just about everything they need to do with a hockey puck. And
Yeah.
they've got guys holding sticks, there's holding going on. And then when they call it when they want to call it, they don't call it every time. I go, they got to have some parameters and they need to work on getting it more uniformed. It needs to be more uniformed. And I know you had a rant last year about that too. I remember you having that rant. It needs to be done and called the same way. You don't give Connor McDavid, I have never seen him get a holding the stick penalty. And he's one of the most guilty guys of doing it.
Well, okay, so I will say this. I have noticed, like, when people do grab the stick, I see other players doing it as well. I don't know. You're going to have to show me the play you're talking about, and I could tell you, because I've seen players grab the stick and kind of push it, but they're not grabbing it. They're kind of like more pushing the other player's stick away.
Well, this was in a scrum. It was like 4 guys up against the board, and it was just there for everybody to see. I was a Deneau stick. I think I can't remember who. You could see it. His hand holding that stick, and it went on for 30, 40 seconds. He never let go.
Oh wow!
I mean, they were fighting up against the boards. And even it was an ESPN commentator, I think, or TNT commentator goes, "Oh, there's David holding the stick again."
Again?
Yeah, well, he gets away with it every time. It's a big. I mean, he's faster, stronger than most anybody else that plays the game, and he gets away with holding a stick where everybody else gets that penalty. If it's against him, they'll call a penalty.
Well, there was also a lot of talks this year that McDavid wasn't getting a lot of calls on him that like other players were getting. Is that our Eric Rodriguez
No.
text interruption?
No. You heard that?
Oh, yeah, it's a loud ding.
That's okay. I heard Milo barking a little bit ago too.
Oh, I didn't even hear him bark.
You were talking.
Oh,
I was listening, so I.
But yeah, like I said, it's the reffing has been bad, but everyone's been complaining about the refs. So maybe that should tell you one thing.
Well, yeah,
if
overall,
everyone's complaining about it.
The officiating needs to be either you got to have a parameter where the call needs to be made, and then once it meets that, you have to call it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I refused in high school basketball. I refused because they said, "Oh, if they touch the guy, like you're playing defense and you're guarding a guy, you touch him. First touch is okay, but if you touch him a second time, it's a foul." Well, they're just, to me, that's how I used to gauge my distance from them. I would give them 6 times, and if they kept doing it, I would finally call it because it's supposed to be called. But I hated that. And then people, they always went over the back. There's no such penalty or a foul in basketball as over the back. It would be a push. There's no over the back. So if I jump over, like you could jump over me, grab the ball. If you're not moving me and grab the ball and take it, I ain't calling that. But if you move me and try to go over me, I would call it. So, but I'd have people yelling at me, "It's over the back." And I look at them, I go, "Find it in the rule book." It's not in the rule book.
Well, all I know is when I played, they missed out a call a lot because I was always getting over. People would always be going over the back on me.
Yes.
Because I was probably one of the best people at boxing out back then.
I did teach you that at a young age, and you were very good at that.
Yes.
In fact, you were so good at it, you got called for a foul. I remember.
That
Guys
was
I know,
young.
they go, "Well, he's moving him." I go, "That's what I taught him to do." Why? I go, "Because that's how we did it back in my day."
Bro,
I mean,
look at me. And I'm a big guy,
you are a big guy.
but I was also not the tallest guy on the court. And the other team had 8 guys that were taller than me.
Yeah, like Elsinore.
Did Elsinore have that many people?
Well, it wasn't 8, but they had 3 or 4 guys taller than you, and you guys beat them every time.
Yeah, true.
You guys had a better
System.
system. You guys all played well together.
Yeah. Well, we all played together for a while too.
So, but anyways,
but we should probably get into the
playoff
playoff
recap.
Yep. Wow.
Sounds like a plan.
We're here, and I deleted my NHL tab, but luckily I have it on my favorites. All right, playoffs. Let's start in the East. Who did you predict for the Ottawa Toronto series?
I don't remember.
Oh,
you said the what? What series?
Toronto and Ottawa.
I think I picked Toronto.
Okay, I picked Ottawa, so I was wrong on that one.
Toronto you were supposed to write that down. All the picks.
I was.
I thought so.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't do it. Well, we could go back and listen to the episode and get it.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I really honestly don't remember.
I don't remember either. I know I picked Ottawa in 6 or 7, so I was obviously wrong on that one. Toronto won 4-2, so Toronto will move on. Their second time winning a series in 20 years, I believe. And they almost blew a 3-0 lead, almost.
Yes,
almost. And I didn't know this, but in series clinching games since 2017, 2018, since Tavares, Marner, Nylander, and Matthews were all there. Before this series clinching game, they were 1 for 13 in series clinching games. That's not very good.
No.
So, but now they're 2 for 13. So, hopefully they can get better at that. We'll see. And the next series, which I was really wrong on, I had the Tampa Bay beating Florida in 7, but Florida won in 5 games, the gentleman's sweep. So, Florida will play Toronto in the second round, and Toronto still has the home ice advantage.
True.
Yep. And then in the other bracket, we have the Washington Capitals, another gentleman's sweep over the Montreal Canadiens, 4-1. And then also, as everyone else predicted, Carolina won the series 4-1, another gentleman's sweep over the New Jersey Devils. So Washington and Carolina will play in the second round.
That's wow. Those are going to be battles.
So who do you have in round 2 in the East? Toronto, Florida. Pick.
It's hard to go against Florida.
It is really hard to go against Florida, especially what they just did to Tampa.
They find a way to win.
They do.
Even when they shouldn't, they find a way to win. And that's, I don't know. I can't say go against them. I'd love to see Toronto move on and beat them. Me personally, I'm tired of Florida.
I don't think I'm tired with Florida yet.
Well, Ekblad, he should be in jail.
But I did predict that whoever won in the Florida Tampa series would go on to the Stanley Cup final. So that was one of my predictions. But Florida's looking really good right now. So I'm going to go with Florida. I wouldn't mind Toronto winning, though. Anything to get more.
Okay, you're going to go Florida. I'm going to go Toronto.
Okay. I
mean,
want
we're rivalries everywhere.
I want Marner's like, I'm tired of Canada. I want to go where palm trees are. I'm going to go sign with Anaheim in the offseason. So, okay. All right. Washington and Carolina.
Okay, before we go there, when you wish upon a star.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what you're doing right now. Because if Toronto would
wishing.
go on to win the Stanley Cup, I bet he'd re-sign in Toronto.
If they can afford him.
If they can afford him, yeah. So Washington, Carolina. Oh, man.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think I got to go with Carolina on that one.
I'll go with Washington. I'll go with the opposite. I'm fine with that. All right. And then in the West, we're going to start with the Pacific because that one's already that one's done. Vegas beat Minnesota 4-2. So Vegas will move on to the second round. I still got to see that replay in Game 5. I want to say where Minnesota had the game-winning goal, and it got called back because of offside. I didn't see it, but everyone's saying that it was for sure offside.
I do believe I was watching the game. It was, yeah.
Okay.
The guy was the puck wasn't even all the way over the blue line yet, and the guy was already inside, I think. So
okay.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, like I said, I watched a lot of hockey this week since I've been off.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, good for Minnesota for giving Vegas a good fight, though.
They gave him a great fight.
Yeah,
they really did.
And then we already talked about this series pretty much, but the Kings got dethroned again by Edmonton for the 4th straight year. So it'd be Edmonton and Vegas in round 2. Who you got in round 2?
Well, I hate Edmonton, so I'm going to go with Vegas.
I hate Vegas. I hate Vegas, but I'm going to go with Vegas.
I hate Edmonton more than I hate Vegas.
Obviously.
Well, they got a lot of ex-Kings on there.
There's a lot of ex-Ducks on Edmonton.
Well, and they do have some on Vegas too, right? They have Theodore.
That's just the one, but I mean, we on the
Perry
Edmonton
and Reek
and Max Jones.
He's on Edmonton?
Yeah, he got traded there with Frederick from Boston.
Oh, okay.
You just probably didn't see him. And then in the Central Division part of the playoffs, we have no winners so far.
Yeah.
Last night, Winnipeg and St. Louis had Game 6 in St. Louis, and St. Louis won in St. Louis. So now they're going back to Winnipeg for Game 7, and that will be tomorrow on Sunday. I'll say that because I don't know when this. By the time our audio listeners are listening to this, it'll be Monday or Tuesday, whenever they get a hold of our podcast. So who do you have in that game? Because we don't even have a winner for that.
Is Scheifele gonna play?
There is no talks that he's. I mean, he didn't even fly to St. Louis. He stayed in Winnipeg. So
I mean, because that could make the difference in that.
Yeah.
If Scheifele plays. It's hard to go against Winnipeg on that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Winnipeg.
I'm gonna go. Actually, I'm gonna go St. Louis. Screw it.
Okay.
And the President Trophy curse lives. And then in the series, which I think everyone expected to go 7 games, Dallas and Colorado.
I think I had Dallas in 7 and you had Colorado in 7.
Yes.
I'm going to stick with Dallas. One, it's in Dallas.
Yes. So apparently Colorado I don't know if there's a certain time period for this, but I've seen that they're 0-6 in Game 7s. And then Pete DeBoer, the coach of the Dallas Stars, he's 7-0 in Game 7s.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. There was talks about that. I don't know the whole like parameters of the whole Colorado 0-6 in Game 7s. Like I don't know if it's like the Nathan McKinnon era or I don't know. I'm staying with Colorado on this. I don't hate. I won't hate. I'll be mad that Dallas wins, but I won't hate it just because that's who I picked to. I picked Colorado to win the whole thing. But I also said that whoever wins the Dallas Colorado series is also who goes to the Stanley Cup final.
So you're gonna have Colorado and Florida.
Yes, or Dallas and Florida. That's my final.
Okay.
That's my prediction. So I'm gonna go with Colorado. So you'll have Winnipeg versus Dallas in round 2.
Yeah, I'd take Dallas.
I'll take Dallas on that one too.
Yeah.
And then
if Dallas is, I'll take Colorado if it's Colorado.
All right. So
if it's, I'll take whoever's
whoever wins between Dallas and Colorado.
Colorado winner is going to beat Winnipeg or St. Louis.
Okay, there we go. And then I'll have St. Louis versus Colorado, and I'm also going with Colorado on that one. So. But also, if Dallas wins, I would have Dallas over St. Louis as well. I exactly what you said.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to see what happens, because if St. Louis does beat Winnipeg and then somehow miraculously gets cut through Colorado and Dallas, then maybe the Pacific Division winner could take them.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I just don't know how I feel if Winnipeg with Jordan Binnington playing in a Game 7. A do or die situation, and he lives for that. As much as I don't like him, but he knows what he's doing.
He does. Granted on that.
So, all right. Well, I think that's all we have for this episode, right?
Yeah. I didn't pull up any trivia or anything. Did you want to do something?
No, I don't. No, we can save it for next week because we don't have any games recaps next week. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's a good possibility that our buddy Eric might jump on with us.
Yes, we could have a possible guest. Speaking of future guest, or not future, but future podcast, we are planning on doing 2 separate podcasts. Like we'll do like a Kings grade podcast and then a Ducks grade podcast or stream and everything. But I posted on our Instagram story. I'll post it out everywhere else, but we want to hear from you guys on the grades for our teams, for the Ducks and Kings. So
each player gets a grade, each coach gets a grade,
and the general manager will get a grade. So we want to hear your opinion. We want to see your grades on this. Yes. I posted in the Instagram story. I'll put it's right if you're watching it live right now. It's in the show notes right now. So if you want to go there, it's under Ducks grades, Kings grades. All you have to do is it's a multiple choice. You select one and you give us a grade for that player. It's pretty simple, But we want to hear from you guys. So that's one of our future ones, and hopefully we can have people join us on those podcasts, because we instead of doing it like how we did last year, where you went, I went, you went, I went. It's just all focus one team, and we can give you guys more in depth of just on that team and everything. That way, it's not as confusing. So
yeah, we're working on getting a couple of maybe guests each on each of those podcasts that would go through those with us if they have the time.
Yes, if they have the time, if you guys want to join, DM us and let us know. We would like to hear from you guys.
As the old saying, if you have the time, we have the beer. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's a little early for beer, but
I know it's just a saying.
Yes,
I'm not a big drinker, so
I'm a one beer and done kind of guy.
Yeah, once in a while, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we have upcoming, and then we got plenty of ideas for the podcast during the summer. But if you guys have an episode idea, shoot us, a message and say, "Hey, tried this." The more ideas, the better. So, but we're happy to, keep this going live for you guys during the summer. I think we only took like 1 or 2 weeks off last year, if that.
Yeah, I know. So, I'm gonna miss in August.
That's fine. That's usually the slower period. So
you can have a guest on, or maybe we take a week off. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, everyone go follow us on all our social media accounts. Like I said, everything's in the show notes. Please go check out our network, the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. The link tree is in there as well. They got a daily show Monday through Friday, the afternoon show. Go check it out. They talk everything about sports. I was on last week talking about a little bit about hockey playoffs because I had 1 day off last week, so I hopped on for a little bit. But yeah, go check them out. They talk about wrestling. They talk about football. They talk about baseball. You hear us talk about Frankie, and he has his about the Yankees. So if you're a big baseball person, go check him out.
Yeah. So send some love towards Frankie because he always sends love towards us.
Yes, that is true. And please go give us a follow on Twitch so that way you can watch this live on Twitch, or you can just subscribe on YouTube. Either way, give us a subscribe or follow on YouTube or Twitch, and hit the like button while you're there. Get a nice little like spike going. That we would really appreciate that. But if not, we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, I would say go Kings go, but they're already done.
No Kings, no.
No Kings, no.
Is that?
I don't know about that. Nice humor, son.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, all right, we'll see you guys next week. And just remember, let's go Ducks.
And obviously, no Kings go. No.
No, don't go.
No, go Kings go.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Next week, guys. Later.
A father and son, a bond so strong, talking hockey all day long. Royally Quacked, their podcast show, sharing stories, highs and lows. From the Kings to the Ducks they go. Shout and go Kings.